Miss Tilda, wow, I love this film. I thought it was so amazing. You were so good in this movie. I was just curious, who helped create the look of this role for you?
Well, the character is written on the page as a mild-mannered man in a suit, and it never got updated. And when I first read the script, Bong Joon-ho and I knew we wanted to work together, but when we first read the script together, we went, you know, there's really nothing in it for me. And we didn't think it was this time round. And then he said to me, what could you do with this mild-mannered man with a suit? And I said, well, I'll take it away and dream something up. How much can I play? And he said, the sky's the limit. So we kind of, I laid down some suggestions and he didn't reject one of them. And we just played.
Can you talk about working with the director, Mr. Ho, Bong Joon-ho? He is a very famous Korean director. So what was it like to work with a Korean director versus American director or European director? Is the style different?
I don't know if any of that is really nationally specific. I'm not a big believer on kind of national specifics.
I mean, in terms of culture-wise, if they have a certain way.
Technically, I will say there's one difference which I gather he is the only Korean filmmaker I've worked with, and apparently this is the habit in Korea, to work with an editor alongside you. That was really interesting. So we shot, you know, usually when you shoot, for those who don't know how it works, usually you're shooting and the filmmaker is encouraging some sense, or maybe not, maybe some people don't do it, but generally speaking, in my experience, people will say, you know, this will cut with that, and you kind of have to hold it in your head, yes. And then very often they'll go, I don't actually know where this is going to go, but I'll figure it out in the edit. He not only knows exactly what he's going to do with it, he's doing it as you're shooting. So he'll shoot this portion of our interview, and then he'll shoot the portion of you walking down the corridor, and then he'll show it to you, and then he'll say, right, now we're going to shoot you in the elevator in between those two. So it's like putting a jigsaw together, and that's really interesting.
I loved your character. She is pretty brutal. I mean, I have to say, maybe even a little bit evil. Do you think she is a little evil in this film, Snowpiercer?
I'm not a big believer in kind of evil. I don't know whether it's very useful to talk about evil. I think what's more sinister about this character is that she, who knows really what Mason is, or what goes on in Mason's cabin, you know, which bits of Mason does she take off. People do refer to Mason as Sir throughout the film, and she, so, you know. I think that, you know, Mason is a politician, and Mason is deeply corrupt, meaning there is no way in which Mason will not go in order to live, you know. Mason says at one point, I want to live. That's it. And so that makes Mason really kind of, you know, truly corrupt. And so the second she's challenged, she totally caves in and starts being a complete coward and says, it's not me, I know, I've got no responsibility at all, which of course we see a lot, I think, in...
At the beginning of the film.
But we see a lot in politicians. We see that kind of weird double standard of, you know, taking all the authority and taking all the power, and then the second they're challenged, you know, blaming somebody else and saying, you know, it's the will of the people. And that's, you know, something we all have to live with. And so it was fun to kind of show that, and to think we were being extreme with it. But actually, even since we made the film, there are, you know, you only have to turn on the news to see people, you know, chewing more scenery than Mason ever does.
Thank you so much.